Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Alexis here. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, I'm a flight medic in the Air Force Reserves. I like to provide information that's going to help reservists or military members in general because I think it's important and it's needed. So in this video, I want to talk about how to get reimbursed because our money is important, right? And no one should be more attentive to what's going on with your money than you. So I wanted to provide this video because it is such a process. The first time I filled out a voucher form, it was a hot mess. It wasn't right. I got it rejected. And so I learned a lot, and I want to share this information with you so that it can be a smooth process for you. Fun fact, I actually recorded this video last weekend for the voucher, and then throughout the week I was like, I should add this. And then I had UTA weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, I learned more. So this is an updated video, and that is called love. So first I want to address that there are, I have my notes here as usual, that there are two types of vouchers, okay? There is DTS and RTS. DTS is Defense Travel System. That is online, it's easily trackable, and you kind of see what's going on throughout the process. RTS is the Reserve Travel System, and it is paper form. Okay, so as of right now, I am experienced, or I have done the RTS version a couple of times for a couple of UTAs. If you watch my previous videos, you know that I've been commuting, and so I've had to fill out some vouchers. And so I want to explain the RTS process and kind of highlight a couple of things on DTS. RTS and DTS, they both need a couple of the same things. They both need a copy of your orders, right? So you have to make sure that those are completed. In order to submit the travel voucher, you cannot submit the voucher without your orders, okay? Two, they both need your lodging receipts. If you paid for lodging or anything like that, you're gonna make sure that's included and make sure the balance is zero, of course. Third thing that they have in common is that you submit a non-availability slip if applicable. I actually don't know what that looks like, but if you have one, add it on there. Okay, and then here are the differences, right? So with RTS, like I said, it's a paper form, and it looks like this, okay? I have a blank copy here just so you know what it looks like. You can also search DD form 1351-2 on Google, and I'm sure it would pop up. But this is the travel voucher, right? And even looking at this, I was thinking, are there classes on how to fill this out? Because when I first saw it, I was like, so how, right? How? So if you guys want a video of me actually going through each box, let me know. I'm not gonna do it in this video because I think it'd be time consuming, but I do want to let you know that this is what it looks like, and you have to make sure that each section is filled out properly. One mistake on this form is going to delay the process. Like I said, the first time I submitted one of these, it was wrong. I included 2 UTAs on here, and you can't do that, FYI. It has to be one set of orders per voucher, okay? So make sure each box is filled out correctly. Another thing that's helpful is that there's a second page, right? You have to read it, right? You have to read it because it has like a guide on the kind of abbreviations that you need to use and what they mean. Say for instance, I know when I got back from tech school, my first voucher was filled out for me. I was in processing, and the finance lady, she just filled it out for me, asked me my dates, where I was going, how I got there, and she filled it out. And when I looked at it later, she used all these abbreviations, and I was like, so I don't know what that means. But on this back form, it explains those, okay? So you would specifically use those abbreviations in this section where it says itinerary, your means and modes of travel, reason for stop, and at the end you always put mission complete, which is MC, okay? And then you would notate your expenses and all of that. Attached to this, you have your orders, like I mentioned. You also have any receipts of your expenses. So I would attach my flight itinerary to this. I attach my Lyft receipt to this because I lifted from the airport to base. If you paid for lodging, you attach lodging to this, and all of those things. Receipts are important. If there's no receipt or documentation, it basically doesn't exist. Yeah, so make sure that is attached to the paper form. Okay, now with the paper form, I want to mention that tracking it, actually before I get there, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before that, you have to make sure that you submit your voucher. So you actually have to take it to finance on your base and make sure they have it for you and they're processing it for you. And you submit that at the end of UTA, because sometimes your orders are not going to be complete until the very end. For example, I just got back from UTA for January, and my orders for January for my January voucher were not complete by the time I left. So now it's up to my leadership to submit it for me. But the goal in the perfect world is to submit it at UTA before you leave, so that you can physically hand it to someone and say, hey, I did that, right? Another tip is to make a copy. My leadership, the person that's kind of submitting my vouchers for me, he has the original that he submits to finance, and then a copy that he keeps in his filing cabinet in case it gets lost. Because like I was about to mention, and what I'm going to say now, is that tracking the RTS version of vouchers is hard. It's hard because it's a paper copy and you don't know if people are going to lose them, because it does happen. So keep a copy for yourself, as well as give the copy to the actual finance people, because that's basically the only way that you can track that it was submitted and that you have documentation that you filled it out. Okay, let me make sure I got everything. And then you can follow up with the payout for RTS by looking at the authorization code on your voucher and matching it to the email that you get when you get paid out. So for example, your orders actually have the authorization code that needs to go on your voucher. And the code is in, I think it's the upper right or the lower right of your orders. And that authorization code goes in this box 8 here, right there. And that's how you track which payout belongs to which voucher if you have multiple ones. So the authorization code from your orders goes on the voucher, and then when you get paid out, you get an email with this is the amount of your payment, this is the amount of your payout, and this is the authorization code for it. So that's kind of how you track if you've been paid for each voucher. Because like I said at the beginning, the only person that's supposed to be attentive to your money is you, right? And I'm very keen about that. Okay, so that's the RTS version, right? So the DTS version, I have not been able to submit my vouchers that way, but I did learn a lot just from this past UTA. To access DTS, you basically just type DTS into the Air Force portal and it pulls right up. It says Defense Travel System, and then you click on it. I'm pretty sure you have to register so you can access everything. And then there's different tabs in the DTS system that says authorizations, paid vouchers, status. And so you can kind of track it that way and do it that way for DTS. So tracking is better in the DTS system to make sure you kind of have accountability on it. And I think it's just better because it's online versus trusting paper. But that's what I have for this video. I want to make sure I covered everything. Types of vouchers, we talked about types of vouchers. We talked about submitting it at UTA, whether it's RTS or DTS. Make sure it's complete if you can have it complete before you leave. Confirmation for RTS is basically just checking with finance, making sure you have a copy, and maybe even your leadership having a copy. DTS, you can actually kind of see it visually what's going on online. And then follow up and track by looking at your payout email and matching the authorization code from your orders to your payout email to make sure that you're getting paid for each voucher that you're submitting. I did not mention this in the beginning, but certain expenses should not be the responsibility of the military member, and it's not given, like the reimbursement or the cap of how much you get reimbursed is not the same for every AFSC or every job. So I know as a 4-0, we're kind of like an essential job. So we get $500 worth of reimbursement for each UTA. And so that's why we have to fill out the voucher if we accrue any expenses on our own, because we should not be. So I would just check with your AFSC and your unit. It is unit specific as well. I remember one of my early ETAs at my unit, I was traveling back home and I was in the airport and I think I was in my uniform because I had a flight situation and it was crazy. But I was in my uniform, so other military members were recognizing me, of course, and they were like, so did you get paid to, like, where your expenses covered? I was like, yeah. And he was like, well, mine wasn't. I was like, that sucks. Right, so it is unit specific and job specific. So I would confirm that and kind of use that as a guide to also choose your AFSC well before you join as a reservist as well. But I hope this was helpful. If you guys want a more detailed video of me going line by line with the form, let me know, because I think that'd be helpful for me too when I first fill it out. And I'd love to provide that too. But as always, leave a comment. Let me know you watched it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a like. And also subscribe too. I'll be continuing to put out more content. And also, if you did not see, I've opened up a whole new section for my channel called Girl Talk. I think it's so important. Like, I'm providing representation for Black women in the military, and I think it's equally as important to provide representation in the Girl Talk space for Black women as well, because certain conversations I didn't have growing up, and so opening up that space I think is cool and important to have too. So check out that video. My first one was on my IUD experience, and it's interesting. So check that out as well. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.